So we're in Montana right now, and I'm actually looking for my own sapphires for cutting. We're at the Gem Mountain Sapphire Mine, and we've purchased some buckets of gravel to go through to look for sapphires. If you can see this gravel is kind of muddy, very dirty, but we're going to be using some screens over at their wash station to wash the gravel and do some special techniques for looking for the sapphires in this gravel. So I'm going to dump some in here, and we're going to go do that. Got about enough there. We're gonna take this dirty mess and we're gonna go look for sapphires. So we're at the wash station and we're gonna wash this gravel up. We're gonna work the gravel in the water to make it so the sapphires will go down to the bottom of the screen and to the center. So when we go and flip this screen over on the table, we should get some sapphires that are right on top. First, we're just gonna wash it. Stuff's really dirty. This is the Gem Mountain Sapphire Mine and it's Rock Creek deposit. Their stuff kind of comes in some dirty clay, rocky dirt. I don't know. And so it's quite dirty. You won't be able to see the sapphires if it's not clean. So once you get it kind of washed off a little bit, now I'm going to do the techniques to get the sapphires to where I want them. Basically, if I do this quick little rocking motion, it's bringing the stones towards the center. And then a few light bounces will level it out. And the sapphire should come to the center and then the rocking motion will push them down to the bottom of the screen. And so I'm going to be rotating this several times and going through that. And after I do it, I should get a good group of sapphires right on the bottom. That should be good enough. Let the water drain out. I'll take it over the table. Now, so this technique works because sapphires are really heavy. Any of the heavier, denser rocks, as they're kind of pulsing in the water, will sink down. And so they'll end up on the bottom of the screen. And so anything that's the heavier material like sapphires or some other heavy rocks should be right on top. Now the flip, you got to do just right or else you kind of ruined your whole process. If you hit the corner of this, if you don't flip it level, your stones are going to bounce around. The sapphires aren't going to be right up top where they're supposed to be. So in order to do the flip, you got to keep a fluid motion, like you're flipping a bucket of water and trying to keep it on the top. And so just one smooth flip and it should work. There we go, that was a good one. All right, let's take a look and see what we got. All right, once the sun was out, you'd be able to see this a little better. But basically all the heavier stones have come right in here towards the center of this pile I flipped. And the sapphires are sitting right here on top. Like I could see a few, and I'm gonna be picking them out with the tweezers. Got a little one there. There's one. Here's another. A third. There's a fourth. And these sapphires are from an alluvial deposit, so you don't see much of their crystal shape. They'll have that rounded, kind of tumbled look from being washed down river and deposited where they're able to be found here. So I'm not seeing any real big ones. Just a bunch of little sapphires, and I'm using tweezers to grab them so that they're not getting pushed down with my large fingers and they're trying to grab these little stones. It's a lot easier to do with the tweezers. But I get some that are cuttable from here. A lot of them are too small, or if you get the flawed ones, but I like finding some pretty little stones myself for cutting. After you pick off the ones you see right on the surface, I mean anything towards the edge, if you did it right, which I think I did, they're not going to be in that area. So anything on the edge, I'm just going to wipe away or move. And then I'm gonna brush. Then I'm gonna brush off just the surface and look down just a little bit to see if there's any sapphires that I missed in this area that have just didn't quite end up on the top of my screen. Oh. Yeah, here's a couple are hiding right under some rocks. Just some more little guys. Little guys I'm not gonna cut, but it's still really fun to find. Okay, well, I don't know if that's probably a piece of agate. Set aside for my daughter. Okay, and after I've gone through, picked out all the sapphires, I'm gonna go ahead and just wipe off this and go again with some new material. I'm gonna be going through quite a few buckets today. Hopefully I find something really good for cutting. That's actually a good one there. So here I found a decent green one. It's probably only about 1.5 carats, but that's big enough for me to cut. And he's nice and clean. But I think though, as with most of the stuff I find here, it heat treats really well. I'm gonna have him heat treat this, and it should be a really pretty teal blue one for cutting later. It's a good piece. Is this my vial? Might be my vial. I'm starting to get a few. I'm gonna put them right in there for safekeeping. There's a few others around in here too. I'll just grab them out. Not as nice. I was trying to hide. Now here at Gem Mountain, they have a good amount of sapphires you can find. If you want to find sapphires, you come here. And it's pretty easy to find sapphires here compared to like the El Dorado bar where I'll be going later. It's just that a lot of the sapphires here you will find will be really small, but you will find a lot more. Well, I have my wife and my kids and one of my sister-in-laws helped me today. And Anna wants to show the one that she found.
Yeah.
You want to hold it up sideways so they can see it? Now let's see how that. Look at that one. That one's a good size, Anna. Good job. That's the biggest one so far. I just found a pink sapphire here. I might be able to do something with that. That's gonna be a fun stone. A few others sitting around in here too. Grab them. Oh, that one. This one looks brown right now. I don't know if you can see it real well. But stuff that looks like this will go a really dark blue if heat treated. So that one's gonna get heat treated. Not real big, but that's gonna make a real pretty stone. A few more sitting around, get them picked up, move on. This is after like 3 buckets, or how many am I on? 3 or 4? 3 or 4 buckets. I found this many sapphires. All right, oh my gosh, I just found a real pretty pink that is cuttable. Pull them out of there. Wow. That is a real pretty color. That is a pretty stone. I think it's cuttable. That's one of my favorite finds today. I love it. All right, last bit. Bucket number 21. I'm tired. Let's get this done. Okay. That was a good fun. There's 2. 3. Nothing real impressive in this last one. 4. This dark area here has all the heavier rocks that are kind of condensed. Where these are, they're kind of heavy, so they usually group up as well, and that's the same area. If you've done the, what do you call it? The shaking right. If you've done the shaking right, the sapphires kind of end up in that area. So I'm just going to do a quick look, see if what's not quite on the surface, what I can find. Tiny little guy. And finish this up. Here's another. Alright, I'm gonna call that good. Alright, so all together we got about 5 vials of sapphires from here. That's going through 21 of their buckets. Took us about 6 hours. And now what I'm doing is I'm going through them and I'm gonna pick out sapphires that I want to have them heat treat. That'll be good for cutting later. Dump that out and take a look at these. Anything that's smaller than I want to cut, I'm not going to bother heat treating, or anything with too many flaws. So I'm looking for stones that are clean, that maybe don't already have a color that I like this one here. I'm going to set that aside, and that one I'm going to have them heat treat. So I'll go through, I'm going to pick out all the ones that I'm going to have them heat. That's another good one, that's a good size. It's probably 2 carats. And these stones I'm picking out that are going to be heat treated, they have like silk, what you might call silk, or some inclusions that when heated at a high temperature over a long time, it kind of disperses and helps give the sapphire better color. So a lot of these lighter greens or yellows or light blues will become nice teal sapphires, or possibly some other fun colors depending on the sapphire and the inclusions within it. So if they're already really pretty as is, I'll keep some unheated for cutting. Otherwise, I'm gonna have some of these heat treated and hopefully get some really pretty stones for cutting here. So here are all the sapphires that I picked out to have heat treated. A good little pile, fills about one of the vials. And this one on the end is the bigger one that my daughter picked out. I was estimating it was gonna be about 4 carats. It's actually just over 3 carats. It's all about 3.3. And this one here is a 2 carat. This one is about 1.5 carats. So a lot of these are around 1 carat, some a little smaller. And I got a couple that were a little bigger. That's our finds for today. I got a few others that I picked out that I'm not gonna heat. These I'm gonna go take up and have them evaluated and have them heat them so they'll turn some pretty colors, and I'll cut them later. But yeah, I got a couple here. A couple decent ones here, which will make some great stones, and then some just standard smaller stones. But not too small, but ones I'll probably cut at some point, so a good pile. Now we are over along the Missouri River near Helena. We are on our way out to the Dorado bar to spend some time going through gravel at the Montana Sapphire Mine. The Blue Jewel mine is a smaller operation than the Gem Mountain mine, and reservations are required to dig through gravel at the mine. They don't have the space for a lot of people, so reservations are required. Their contact information can be found on their website, which is linked in the video description. There's a lot more work that goes into the process of finding sapphires here when compared to Gem Mountain. At Gem Mountain, your bucket's already filled and ready to go straight into the wash station. At Blue Jewel, the sapphire deposit isn't as dense, so the gravel needs to be condensed before looking for sapphires. You dig and sift the gravel yourself from their pile of sapphire-bearing gravel that has been screened to remove all the larger rocks and boulders. I run the gravel I dig through a set of screens to remove the sand and larger rocks to end up with just the gravel sizes that are around the size that the sapphires will be. Any of the gravel that doesn't pass through the top screen is put into a pile on the side. And everything in the 2 remaining screens are poured into buckets. A self-dig at Blue Joel consists of filling 6 buckets that will be run through a jig to further condense the gravel. It takes a lot of sifting to fill the buckets, so I repeat the process of digging, sifting, and dumping until 6 buckets are filled to the top. Filling 6 buckets takes a long time by yourself, but it goes a lot quicker if you're doing it with a group. Once the 6 buckets are filled, they have you split the buckets in half so that they are easier to lift and run through their jig. The gravel running through the jig acts just like pulsing the gravel in a screen. As the gravel moves through the pulsing water, the heavier materials make their way to the bottom, while the lighter rocks work their way through and out the other end. It helps condense the 6 buckets of rocks down to a lot less material that is needed to go through to find the sapphires. And just like with flipping the screen at Gem Mountain, when the catch pan is flipped, the sapphire should be right towards the top.
Alright, there you go, bud.
The light out here is terrible. Alright guys. Somewhere in there is probably some sapphires. Not bad. As you can see all the heavy material, all these dark stones there. And this is the side that was first coming into the bucket. So most likely the heavier stones, and then more or less on this side. Oh, yeah, there's one. Is that a big one right there? It is. These are a lot bigger than at the other mine. There's just not as many. That's not bad size. I mean, he's a little bit thin, but he faces up big. Nice. There might be one right there too. They're hard to see right now because it's kind of really cloudy. All right. Hey, the sun's coming out. See one right there. There too. Nice little icy blue. Okay, I'm gonna sit for a moment. That's not bad. See how clean he is. That's decent. Nice tab. Where are we at? Right here. Anyway, pull this guy out. It's probably around 4 or 5 carats. 5 feet. Here's the amount of sapphires I found so far going through one set of buckets. Where the catch pan is so big, often sapphires settle a little on the flip or don't quite end up on the very bottom of the catch pan. So after looking on the surface and digging down just a little bit, I take a screen and go back through all the gravel from the catch pan using the same techniques used at Gem Mountain in a wash tub to rescreen the gravel and look for any sapphires that I missed. Once I've double checked the gravel, I wipe it off the table and repeat until I finish the whole batch. Oh, here's some. 11. Here's one. 12. A little bit flatter, but good size. Slowly digging in. There's one. That little guy. 13. There's one. Where's the icy blue? Oh, how big that is. It's like what, number 16? Holy cow, he's got to be like almost 9 or 10 millimeters long. Oh, that's a beauty. I think he's clean. Oh my gosh. Well, that's gonna be a cuttable. Pull that guy out. He's beautiful.
There you go.
I'm glad we went for one more.
Now you're not gonna want to stop.
Oh, well, I'm too tired. I gotta be done. My wallet's gonna be hurting too, along with my lower back.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, this was number 7 for today. We're out here yesterday too, did 5, so how much is that, 12? So I am beat, I am sunburned.
Yeah.
Well, that right there is a good find. Like,
There you go.
he's gonna make a good like emerald type cut easy.
Heck yeah, brother. Nice
That's
job.
a good one. I think that's 16 for this. Almost filled my vial between 3 runs.
Nice.
It's getting there. It's popping.
Yeah, you guys have done well.
He's almost filled it by himself.
Heck yeah.
Alright, gotta keep going. A little more to go through. There's one. Oh god, 17. Oh. Alright, pulled out about 17. Now time for the shaky. See if we can find any more that we're hiding. Start with the heavy side. Pretty little agate. Dark stones in here. I don't think I'm seeing anything off the bat. Ooh, the pan is hot. It's getting late. So here are all the sapphires that I have from my trip to Montana, all except for the sapphires from Gem Mountain that I left to be heated. Besides them, which would be some of the largers in this section, this is everything else. These are the sapphires that I have here from going through the gravel buckets at Gem Mountain. We went through 21 buckets, which was 3 of their lucky 7s. And besides the ones being heated, this is everything else I have. The stuff I have left in the bags is stuff that I don't consider very much facet grade either because it's too small or flawed. Everything else could be faceted. So I have my Gem Mountain Sapphires from the gravel buckets. I went through a cowboy boot, and these are the sapphires that I found in there. And I went through a mega jug, and these are the sapphires. And then the rest of these sapphires over in this section are from the Dorado Bar Blue Jewel Sapphire Mine. And you can almost see a little bit of the difference in color compared to the rest of these Gem Mountain Sapphires. These ones are naturally a little more bluer toned compared to the greener tones and the fancy colors you could get. And they're also larger on average, though you don't find quite as many sapphires as you would at Gem Mountain. You get a lot. The ones you do find are a little bit bigger. Most of these in here are under a carat, about 70 points to 1 carat. And if you compare that over here with the stuff I got from Dorado Bar, this is the section that I have picked out that's 70 points to 1 carat. The rest of these stones that are out of my fastable ones are over 1 carat. My 1 to 2 carat range, 2 carats. My tabs range from 1 to 3 carats. A 3 carat piece. I have a few 4 carat pieces. One's really flawed. I'm going to cut anyway. The other 2 have just a few flaws. A 6.1 carat piece, which is probably my best of my big ones, is mostly clean. And then my biggest, which was 6.7 carats, is fairly flawed, but I think still cuttable. Will probably stick together. I'll work around some fractures and other things in that piece. Of the Dorado bar sapphires from Blue Joel, I found over 300 carats, of which of the ones I have sitting out here, I have about 200 carats of sapphires in my facettable range, which is pretty good, especially since it's not as many pieces as the little ones, so I'll have quite a few bigger stones I'll be able to cut from these. I have a whole lot for cutting this year. Overall, between both the sapphire mines and the jugs I got from Gem Mountain, I ended up with finding over 1,000 total carats of sapphires, of which I picked out about 430 carats as possibly facettable, even though I won't be faceting all those. With the amount of sapphires I have, I probably won't get to faceting a lot of the smaller ones before I go next year and get more. I'll be cutting on these all year with the amount of sapphires I have. I probably have about 350 pieces altogether between the facettable, of which about 200 of them do fall in the slightly under a carat size. But that still leaves me 150 pieces that are a carat or bigger to be working on this year from my Montana Sapphires before I go get more again next year. I really like both these mines. The Gem Mountain, you can get a lot of sapphires. They heat really well. So like those ones I send in the heat treat, that's where I'll get my heated tills and stuff, my really pretty blues for cutting. And I like the Dorado bar because I get bigger sapphires. Their unheated colors are fairly decent. As you can see, I have a lot of work to do. I don't know exactly which stones I'll be starting with for when I do my videos. But definitely will be videoing the big one sometime. That 6 carat, see how it turns out. Maybe if some of these other big ones are fancy colors as I decide. It's gonna be a while, but I'm gonna make some pretty pieces out of these. I look forward to getting them cut. And thank you for watching me find all these fun sapphires. I really love going out and finding them myself. There's just something about finding your own stones and cutting them. It's really exciting. If you want to find your own sapphires, I suggest going to any of the mines there. Gem Mountain's great for an easy experience. The gravel there is already to the point where you could just start sifting it in the water and finding the sapphires. Dorado bar with Blue Joel's a little bit more work, but if you're wanting to find a few bigger pieces, you can find a few bigger ones there. But also if you want the fancy colors, Gem Mountain. Gem Mountain's definitely a place to go for fancy colors. You're likely to find a few small pinks or possibly other fun colors mixed in with their sapphires.